And we're ready to roll. The second episode of the Happiness Podcast Project.
Whoa. Was that the intro?
Yeah.
This motherfucker stole my intro. Excellent. So this is what happens when you put an Asian man on it. Slowly but surely, they start taking over one by one. Next thing you know, I'm going to be actually washing dishes in the back while he's doing the podcast. But
China's on the rise.
Okay, here we go. This is episode 2 of the Happiness Project.
Yeah.
Starring the Kipster and Rosie Hienz.
Yeah, that's right.
So let me introduce this brother to my left. I believe I met this brother when I was 19 years old.
Something like that, yep.
Where at?
I met him in San Francisco. I'm going to let him tell a story the way he wants to tell a story because this man is a master storyteller.
Oh, it was real simple, man. You know, I was cutting hair at a barber shop a long time ago. This guy just kind of stumbled in. Came in for a haircut.
19 years
him
old.
up, man.
Yeah,
I hooked
that's
him
Fat
up.
face.
I've always been entrepreneurial, man. It was always something to do around the hood to make some money. You know,
Yes.
we always had to
Yes.
find ways of making ends meet and making friends and making things happen.
Yep.
Yep.
So that you were born and raised in the city?
Yeah, born and raised in San Francisco, man. Born and raised in San Francisco. I
Yes.
loved it too, man. It kind of feels, you know, like a different city now than it was when I was a kid.
Definitely,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
First of all, I can say that San Francisco is a lot safer.
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to go to San Francisco and run your mouth in like the Mission or Hunters Point or Visitation Valley.
Right.
Or you walking around like you'd get lost and someone would find your ass.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. I will say this about Mr. Kip here. It was funny. So first time I met him, I'm like, "What's your name?" And he said, "Kip." And I said, "This motherfucker's lying to me already." And I just met him. But Kip
Yeah.
has been a good friend of mine for years. You know, constant friendship for over 20 years. I've soaked up a lot of game from this gentleman, so I appreciate it. And you know, as you know,
Wait, explain to the audience, what is game? From a black man's perspective.
this motherfucker.
I
said
mean, from our
a black man's
perspective, from our
That's
perspective,
true.
you know,
It's a higher standard.
like, I mean, there's people who play checkers, there's people who play chess, you know, there's people who just spectate through life.
Say, I just jump rope, you know. I do.
This
Yeah.
is awesome.
I mean, it's like you know, like a circus, for example. Some people go to the circus because they want to see everything, you know, be good. And some people watch the person on a tightrope, and the person put the lion in their head and be like, it'd be kind of fun to see the lion bite the guy's head off. And some people want to see everybody come out safe, and some people just don't care.
But the bottom line is, I can tell you this is game, is that after you go to the circus a few times, you say, I want to be the motherfucker who organized the circus.
Yeah, if
That's
that's
Kip.
the part of the game you like.
He
to
always
play.
run in some sort of circus.
Yeah.
If that's the top part of the game you like to play, I like to, you know, I play the game. I like
So,
to play.
Kip,
That's what I like.
you have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of things going on in San Francisco.
Yes, we do.
Tomorrow we have our show, Comedy Couch Live, SF, and we also do a weekly show at Michael Collins Irish Pub on Haight Street.
Yep. Yeah.
Kip was the
That's
one
our
to...
stomping ground. That's
Yeah.
that's where we go practice.
Kip was the
on.
one to... Well,
So for the viewers who just think I just introduced somebody that I've been friends with for a bunch of years and don't understand that I actually have friends who do shit. Kip is a comedian in San Francisco, and so is Rosie. They started at what I've witnessed as a brilliant open mic showcase that I've seen that allows comedians an opportunity to really work their craft in front of a small, intimate crowd and get some honest feedback and just get better, which I'm going to tell you something. Any performance, any public speaking, anything like that, the most important thing is to be able to work your craft in front of people who's not going to hit you with a can if you fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that, knowing Kip, when I seen it, I was like, yeah, this is something that he was going to do because giving people the opportunity is what he's done. Throughout his whole life, he's always given, to me in my experience, information to people. And what they do with the information is their business.
Yep.
But they get information. And so these are Bay Area comedians, and we're really privileged to have them here on the Happiness Podcast, live from Nueve Bar and Grill in San Bruno Bay Hill Shopping Center. Come through, get some mole, some of the best mole ever.
Oh, it's a nice place over
this
here,
place
man.
is so
It's
You guys
beautiful.
got to check this place out. It's nice over here.
And there's some
Nice.
excellent people who work here. So if I could just ask a couple of questions, and I just want you to answer them any way you want, because we're just going to have a conversation. I just want to go to Kip. What made you start in comedy? And then I'm going to ask the same question to Rosie here.
Okay. Well, at the time that I first attempted comedy, it was a pretty dark time in my life at the time. Marriage was going bad, business was going fairly well, fairly decently. I had been pretty successful in the insurance business, and I was just at a time in my life where I was in a lot of change and transition. So I started hanging out with one of my buddies who's a comedian, and he gave me quite a few drinks, dared me to go on stage, and I went up there and I just went into a British accent. I don't know why. I went into a British accent, and this Englishman just came hurling out of me, and I was totally drunk, had no jokes, I didn't know what to say or what to do at all, and I just sort of randomly went into this guy. I introduced myself as the illustrious Kip Fuller, and all of a sudden, some guy saw it and he was like, I want to book this guy, man. I want to do a show with this dude. This British dude is so fucking cool. And I had to tell him, I'm not British, I'm not a comedian, I don't want to do any shows with you. And he was like, no, man, I'm doing a British invasion show. I want you to do the British invasion comedy show. I was like, no way. And then my buddy said, man, dude, you went up there one time and got asked to do something.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, huh?
That is amazing.
So I did it, and I was pretty popular as British.
Comedians all over the world's like, fuck him. Bust my ass.
I got pretty popular as British, and then
Did you keep up that act, or?
I kept up the British. Well, yeah, but okay. So, in order to do the show, the guy said, "Look, I'm gonna wait a couple of months and give you some time. Go to open mics, practice, get a set down, give me 7 minutes." So I did that, and in the process of going to open mics and practicing British, I made a lot of friends. People really liked it, and then I learned about comedy, because at the time I didn't understand what comedy is, and I realized that, hey, I came from the life where, we used to say on the streets, the game is to be sold, not to be told. Like, your game is like, be back to that word game again. It's like the real comedians sell game. They sell conversation from within. So it's their unique take on things that people want.
So expressing your true self, like.
Yeah, people watching this show because they want Grover. They want his gray beard ass in their living room. That's why they watching the show. They want to hear. They want to hear Grover. They want to hear his perspective. That's what his fans want.
What
And I want
does
to
he
be
think?
all up in their living room with them.
Right. So I was like, you know what? The British guy is not I'll never be a big act. People will like me, but I'll never be something people would pay for. They want that guy in the living room. So I said, okay, I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to put myself, Kip Fuller, in people's living rooms.
Right.
So I went out to become Kip Fuller on stage, and I fell flat on my face. No one wanted to hear it. They were like, we don't like you. We like the British guy. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah, they're like-
You tricked us.
What kept you going then after that point?
Well, I knew that I had something inside that people really wanted. So because I've done a lot of things in life. I grew up in San Francisco. I won't say on the streets, but I lived some street life. I had really good people at home to take good care of me and teach me good values. Had to fight my way to school, but I went to school.
Yeah. That's a very common story about people who want to do something. It's never easy. Before we continue, let's have both of you guys get a little closer to the mic.
Sure.
When you talk,
Okay,
I'll just
yeah,
move
yeah,
the mic a little
sure.
closer,
Yeah.
just to make sure that we're having a good pickup.
Sure.
That makes sense.
It's one thing is it's necessary for us to try our best to talk into the mic.
Sure.
And I appreciate it. Please continue.
So, no worries. So, I was talking about what I felt like I bought into comedy.
Right.
Also, my work experience has been very diverse,
Yeah.
Did a little haircutting and some other things, some sales jobs. I got into tech, did some interesting work in the tech field, marketing, and then, I eventually got into the insurance business, where I'm still in that business. I've traveled many places in the world. I've been a lot of places in the world. So as an African-American man, I have a lot of experience that I could share with the world from my own unique perspective and ways that I can relate to other people from different places and things. Yeah. So I just stayed away from comedy for a while. And I went through a pretty intense divorce situation and a custody situation. Grover knows all about it.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate to be the Kip support system
Exactly.
during those times.
So there's marriage, there's divorce, there's fatherhood. There's a lot of things, perspectives that I can, bring comedy into. What comedy did for me was it provided me this, how you look at a dark sky full of dark clouds in the daytime, and then it parts and the sunlight shines through.
Yeah.
That's what comedy did for me.
That's beautiful.
Higher spirits talking to us like that.
Yeah. So I gotta warn you guys. Scott is very metaphysical. So every now and again, when you he's spiritual, quantum. Yeah. So when you every now and again you'll drop some shit like that, and Scott will be like, "That is the positive energy of the world going into you."
My
But I'm gonna tell you something though.
man.
That is it's absolutely correct. I believe in it. But I really believe in fucking with Scott every time he says it. It just makes me happy. I think that's awesome. If I could ask you, Rosie, some of your background and how you got into comedy and how long you've been doing it.
Okay. So I started comedy when I was basically straight out of college.
Wow.
I had always wanted to be an entertainer, actually. I thought I wanted to be an actress. I actually tried doing opera for one semester. Yes, but I don't have perfect. I was just like, this isn't gonna.
Right.
You had to take piano classes and music theory and music, and I was like, I don't really care about the history of music. So I dropped out of that, and then I just was got really focused on having a normal life. I got a degree in something called recreation therapy, and was like, I'm gonna have a normal life. And then when I got out of college and was just, working regular job, I was trying to meet people, and so I actually met a comedian at an outdoors club meeting. Yeah, there was a comedian who likes to hike, and I was just.
And so where was this
Yeah.
at? Was this in San Francisco or was this?
No, I was actually living right on the border of LA and Orange County.
Oh, okay.
So I did actually kind of a lot. It's kind of easier traffic to drive down to Long Beach, drive to Orange County
Yeah.
from where I was rather than directly into Hollywood.
So where were you in Anacrime or where were you at?
Yeah, really close to there.
Yeah.
Whittier, actually.
Whittier.
Yeah.
Whittier, right next to Anacrime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call it Anaheim.
There's parts. It's yeah. Yes.
I want to give a shout out
essentially.
to my boy Dave Hudson down in Orange County.
What's up, Dave? What's up, man?
Who taught me that phrase, Anacrime?
I know your girls be filming
So-
porn and everything, man, but it's all
Yeah,
good.
well-
We
So
heard
kind
all
of
about
like-
that.
Kind of like Kip, I just got thrown on a show where they were like, "You're funny, go up," and it was like a real audience. and I have no idea what I talked about, but I just remember getting laughs, and from then I was like totally hooked. But then I went to a mic with all comics, no audience members, and was just terrified.
Wow.
Because that's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
You basically had your comic club at the time, and then you were featured at your club?
Well,
No. This was
That was
I
long
started
before I even
comedy.
started comedy.
We're going way back. So her.
Yeah, so I started comedy like long time ago.
10 years ago.
Like more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was like 23, so straight out of college.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Okay.
doesn't tell you how long that was.
Yeah.
You don't know how old I am now, but
Yeah,
anyways.
well, if it was 10 years ago and you're 23 straight out of college, we're going to say you're about 32, 33.
Yeah, I'm older than that. But okay, so I did it for like about 10 years.
We can do math
and then I took maybe a couple years off when I first came to San Francisco. Kip and I met, and then we launched everything that we're doing now about a year ago.
So that's awesome. So one of the biggest thing about our show is that we really want to focus on people who were maybe doing something that they weren't fulfilled at, like working jobs here and there. Kip is amazing because whatever he's doing, he's selling it as it's the best shit in the world. Which is why I know he's gonna be an excellent comedian. Is an excellent comedian because he will sell it. I mean, he's a salesman 100%. But not only is he a salesman, but he also appeals to something in you because he finds something to relate to. So it's a very good skill.
You know, the way I look at what I do and what I've done is I only do things that I believe in.
Okay.
And you know, the insurance company that I represented was something I really believed in at the time that I started with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a little business that empowered me to do big business. It was a big business with a small business attitude.
Right.
You know, and I mean, you remember that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was like, and now I look at things completely different about the insurance business and about the company that I work with. I don't mean to bash them. They've been good to me. It got me through a lot. But, you know, now I'm more excited about comedy, and I'm more excited about emerging technologies, you know, like the blockchain, like crypto technology.
Right.
You know, comedy, and that is something that really drives me right now.
That's awesome.
Well, we're starting a new show, as a matter of fact.
What's the new show?
We have the Crypto Happy Hour and Comedy Show, actually.
Hold on. Is there alcohol?
Yeah.
There's alcohol.
Definitely.
There's lots of booze.
There's going to be a happy
man.
hour
I'm there.
followed by a comedy
There's
show.
lots of booze.
Booze followed by a comedy show.
It's a crypto happy hour.
Okay.
So people who are interested in
And
cryptocurrencies.
And so is that a place where you can actually learn about crypto? Because a lot of people don't know you can learn about cryptocurrency, learn the uses,
Yes.
and actually pair yourself with some people who are really heavy into trading that, so you can.
That is exactly what we're doing.
exactly what we're
We're
doing.
bringing
that's
people
awesome.
who are interested
That's awesome.
together with people who are experts, because we're going to be right in the middle of San Francisco at
Wow.
the piano fight.
Wow.
Yes. So it's gonna be right where everything's
so
happening.
if somebody sees this, and if they're like me, they're having a few cocktails, how can they get in touch with you guys to go see this?
Well, in the next couple of days, they'll be able to look on Eventbrite. They can
right.
type up. Actually, if you guys want to find out any information, just email me or go to my website. Send an email from Comedy Couch SF. That's
Yeah,
my website.
That's right.
Comedy Couch SF and the email.
www.comedycouchsf.com.
Okay.
Any emails to there will go directly to us. Or you can find us on Facebook at Comedy Couch SF. But you have to remember to put the S and the F on there.
That's right.
Or you gonna be talking to somebody else? Somebody else got a comedy couch?
So there's another Comedy Couch. It's definitely not as fun as us.
I know it's not as funny.
It's not in.
I don't know where they are, but
I'm
they're
gonna turn
not
it
as
into a
fun as
gorilla
we are.
couch. We're gonna go storm them.
So what we're going to do, we're also going to provide some links down into the description below as well. I'm probably going to do hyperlinks onto the video as well, so keep a lookout for that. And I'll probably put more on at the end credits, so you'll know exactly where to go. So yeah.
Excellent. So one of the biggest things that we talk about here at the Happiness Project podcast is, what do you think the secret of self-fulfillment is? because it sounds like you've been on both sides of it. It sounds like you were doing something that you thought was cool, and then it wasn't cool, and now you're doing something that's cool. And so, what's the secret of that dichotomy? Why did it change? And what do you like? What side you changed, and going forward, what are your plans to make sure that you stay on the happy side?
Well, Grover, if you've known me for a long time, so just to help you understand what it is about me now, what drives me. Let's look at what I've always done. When I first got into tech, I was building web pages. I was doing video online with cameras.
Yeah, but that was in the late 90s, right?
That was in the late 90s.
Yeah, like when it wasn't common.
It was on the cutting edge.
I remember you would tell me stuff, and I'd be like, "This Negro's crazy. He's not going to really do that." And then he's like, "No, I did it."
Right.
That's Kip.
Did you do it like on school, or how did you learn that?
So being in the barber shop, I knew people who were already in that kind of technology. And one of my friends, I said, "Hey man, I want to build a site for salons. Can you help me build it?" He was like, "Build it yourself." So he told me what books to read, where to get all the equipment, where to go. So I pretty much lived in bookstores, and then I went down to City Center for Electronic Arts, which was a place where it was emerging media at the time. People were going to learn. It was a school where people were going to learn. And, signed up for some classes. Eventually, I became an intern. And, that's how I got into tech.
So it goes back to what I said in episode 0, that when I spoke to somebody when I was working at a startup, I was working at a startup in the Valley, and I asked the individual who was the tech lead. I said, "How did you learn how to do this? Where you go to school?" And he said, "I didn't go to school for this. I wanted to do it, and I learned how to do it." And that was the biggest thing that I tell people. People get upset at me because I say, well, maybe you don't need to go to college. Maybe you need to find out what you want to do and put your energy into learn what you want to do and make money doing what you want to do, because that way you never have an unfulfilled life. And then you don't do something you don't want to do for 45 years, retire, and just drop dead because you put yourself under so much stress of being a corporate slave. And doing that do that. And I think Kip, one of the reasons why, and Scott will tell you, I wrote down Kip and I was like, we got to get this guy, we got to get Kip and Rosie on the podcast, because besides being one of my good friends that I've had for years, and like my big brother almost in a lot of ways, what he embodies is a lot that I talk about, so I'm fortunate enough to have some examples of people saying, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna do this because this is right for me.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say that, academia and college is important. I won't knock it. Dealing with corporations, I'd be a total hypocrite if I said dealing with corporations is not a good thing, because I'm pretty much a slave to one right now. I'm trying to get out of it, and I'm a slave. But it is necessary to do some of that. But what drives me is being on the cutting edge.
Yeah.
So and also what drives me is being my own boss. I was told that if you do this type of business, you're going to be your own boss. I realize it's not Kip's candy store.
Right.
Comedy is my voice.
Yeah.
It's my voice. If I have 1 or 2 fans, they are coming to me for my voice.
Exactly. Exactly.
And also crypto technology, it's an emerging technology. It's brand new. There's no real expertise quite just yet. Academia is trying to get involved right now, so we're doing this all ourselves. We're coming up with the language.
So it's organic.
It's all brand new. Yeah.
And what's really
Stanford University is just starting to try to put together classes to understand it. and to try to teach it.
They're trying to put together classes to understand what you're getting firsthand knowledge of from people who are doing it.
Yeah.
And
At a bar.
At a bar with drinks, and that's always important. But this is something that I said. I said this last week that people, in my experience, are always trying to catch up to what the street knows. On the street, and when I say the
Keep your ear
street,
on the street, man.
when I say the street,
That's
people
game right there.
people
Yeah,
You're on the
that's true.
street.
That's true.
people act like
The
people,
trendsetters drive fashion, not the fashion
exactly, because
designers.
people act like, when I say that, people act like, oh man, you trying to promote some illegal shit. No, somebody somewhere is in their garage making something right now that's going to change the world, and when they change the world in their garage, and after they monetize it,
Well,
then-
Uber, I think, is probably still technically illegal.
It definitely is in a lot of Asian countries, but and then they're going to turn around and they're going to say, okay, someone's created this, let's go get it. And the real opportunity is being on that cutting edge and understanding it. And amazingly, that you can go and get some understanding and get a laugh at it and have a drink and be in a great atmosphere with some folks.
You probably remember more too.
Yeah. And so, I had a couple of questions for you guys, and the last question I have, and this is for, I want to ask Rosie first, because how many years have you been in the Bay Area?
5 years.
5 years. So I want to ask you your views of the Bay Area 5 years ago, and now, and what changes have you seen?
Okay. Well, I've seen a lot of change,
Yeah.
and I know that that's like minuscule compared to
Right.
what Kip has seen. But I literally moved directly into the middle, like geographic middle of San Francisco, right along Divisadero, which in a the neighborhood that's NOPA. It was already called NOPA at the time, but it was much more recent change. So one of the first things was almost a debate going on in the neighborhood where people were very much like, oh, this was the Western Addition, and oh, why are we calling this NOPA now? That conversation is pretty much over.
Yeah, they
That's
call
one of
it
the
NOPA.
biggest. It's like, okay, it's obviously NOPA. So that's been a really big change. I've also seen, I would say, a lot of houses. A lot of people, I think, have lost their houses in that neighborhood. People that have maybe been there even for 40 years, they can't keep up the taxes. They've lost.
Wow. So they actually have their houses taken from them.
Houses are continue to have gone. I think, and then also.
Oh yeah, we saw a church across
That's true.
the street from our
That's
house.
probably that was one of the big
So
things.
hold on.
was-
So a church got repossessed?
No, a
Yeah.
church is now repossessed and is now
$5 million
It's probably
mansion.
$6 million by now.
Yeah, for
When it was built,
$350,000.
it was $5
It was lost over
million
a
dollar
$350,000
And it's worth
mortgage.
$5 million.
and it was sold like within a month of them developing
of course.
it. Probably, I think it was, and I know it was actually to a friend of there was a direct connect. It was somebody that the developers knew that got that
Oh,
house.
of course. So people in South Bend, God don't like
So
ugly.
that was definitely,
Yeah.
and then I mean it's just even just in the last
God don't
maybe
like
year
ugly.
and a half, it's
Yeah.
been restaurant after restaurant after restaurant, and really I mean I've
When you say
driven
restaurant
for
after
Uber.
restaurant, do you mean like closing? Or
No, opening.
Okay.
Opening.
Yeah.
Because even spaces that weren't food related before
Are now
becoming
Restaurants and wine bars.
restaurants, wine bars, maybe a very chic fashion
Well, okay.
of some sort.
Okay.
Some sort of lumberjacky looking shit, you know what I mean?
That's a lumberjacky
Yeah,
looking shit.
yeah.
Surprised at the change. You're obviously not surprised because you've seen it in the years in the making.
but if you-
also following the emerging markets too.
But in 5 years,
It's that much. I
That's a
mean,
lot of change. This is someone who's been here 5 years.
It's 5 years.
Now I know the changes that I've seen in that neighborhood in the last 20 something odd years, where the reason why you go to Divisadero if you didn't live there was for brother-in-laws
Barbecue.
barbecue, and it was a lot of. The whole building shook, and I was about to run. Black people run when shit happens. Scott was going to be here by himself. Rosie was going to get snatched up by Kip. We were running, and we were leaving the other people in the restaurant to fend for themselves. But anyway, I could say, me personally, I would go down there for either. There was a concert hall across the street from you that played a lot of
still
hip hop.
there.
And I would go there.
Independent and
Yeah,
Justice
yeah.
League.
Justice,
yeah.
I seen KRS-One at the Justice League.
Yeah. Tupac was there.
Yeah, I see. It's a lot of stuff, a lot of Bay
Saw
Area
him
hip
hanging
hop.
out there. Yeah.
And I would go for a barbecue, but it was a cool part of town. It was in the middle of town, but it wasn't a big attraction. There wasn't a lot of stuff that would drive someone who was not in the neighborhood there.
Yeah.
True.
That was my thing, and I would go there, of
It was
course.
more neighborhoody.
I would go there, of course, because my friend lived there.
There's also the Emporium just went in.
Yeah, an Emporium was there, but that's gone for years now, right?
Well, Emporium SF is a new business.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Emporium
yeah.
SF.
No, Emporium
okay.
SF is
It's
a
an
new
arcade.
venue, like, yeah, bar arcade
Really?
with a giant stage right next to the
Beautiful
Independent.
place.
It is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
It's-
Oh, we
You
gotta
definitely gotta go in there.
get out there. We
Oh
give it
yeah,
a
we
plug.
go over there. We know the owner. He's a nice guy. Treat us like kings up in there.
Oh, awesome, awesome. It's awesome. It's like my new wedding.
I would say that the businesses that are still doing well have made changes too. Like
Right.
you definitely see that where you have to
Okay.
keep on appealing. Like the Independent Bank is doing a really good job of keep on
Keep
on
on-
appealing to the people
keep-
that
keep
are
on
that
reinventing
are
itself.
there. Yeah.
So and I think
What's going on with that?
time out. This is gonna be our first break. So we're still cracking,
Oh, so we
but
should still
video
talk?
is
The
gone.
video's
So
out,
let's
but we
take a
still
break.
talk? Oh, okay.
Let me guess. Ran out of memory.
So what you hear is not a test.
Test. I'm rapping to the beat and move the groove. And my friends, we gonna try to move your feet. Now I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello to the black, to the white, the red and the brown, the purple and yellow. But first, I got a bang bang,
A boogie to the boogie, say up, jump a boogie to the
bang bang boogie. Let's rock.
Oh,
You
that's a
don't
good
stop,
idea.
and the rhythm will
Make your body rock.
Have you
That's
ever
cute.
went
That's a
over
good
a friend's house to
break.
eat and the food
This
was
is
just
a
so
break.
good?
It's a musical break.
But okay.
We're back on. We're
So
back on.
what's gonna be great is
okay,
that I
okay.
hope
So
we
since
don't edit this out.
this is the happiness product,
Yeah, happiness
I
project.
have to say my 2 cents about happiness.
Okay, please.
So I grew up in a super hippie family that was all about, oh my God, just do what you love, do whatever you love. Just doesn't matter about the money. Now in the real world, it does. So
Right.
I think there is this balance of like, and to me, if you want real like, maybe not just happiness, but maybe fulfillment, like a meaningful life.
Right.
I think that you want to do something for other people.
100%.
So you can, if you're focused, I think, more on that rather than just, I'm going to make myself happy, then there's going to be value to other people and you can probably get paid off of that.
Well,
Not to say that you're not
Right.
doing, like,
no, you're absolutely.
you don't have to be a true, like a complete altruist, like,
So here's
and
something.
still help people. Like,
Here's something that's the point of it.
yeah.
Once you strip away all those layers of your ego, and you get down to real happiness, the trick is you'll find that it kind of makes you happy to help other people.
Yeah.
And so one of the things is I've done martial arts for a long time, and I always say like what makes me happy is teaching kids, and I teach kids with disabilities at times. I taught adults with disabilities before, and I've never turned away a student in my class because maybe they have a disability, regardless of what it is. And just seeing the look on some of their faces when we're just doing it, and seeing the look on the other kids' faces who are like, oh, this kid who I thought was totally different from me is competing and doing the same thing I'm doing, and having them integrate together is what makes me happy. And so I think that a lot of times when we say, make yourself happiness, you're going to have to do this and do that and do this and do that, you'll find out that because we're tribal people, meaning that we're community oriented,
Yeah.
that helping your fellow man, once you get rid of all of the stress down of I gotta make money, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, you strip it away and it's like, man, it would be okay if I did this and shared with somebody. It'd be okay if I did this and helped somebody, you know? And so that's the whole point of it. And I think you're absolutely correct, because the happiness isn't in just going there and feeding your super ego like, oh, because look, if it was just about that, my life would be beer, fried chicken, and women.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, it's
You
easy.
forgot something, but okay.
And weed, a lot of weed. But honestly, some shrooms too. Acid every now and again. Mom, if you hear this, I'm sorry.
And free plane tickets.
Free plane
Yeah, I
tickets
think
to
that
places.
kind of stuff is easy, right?
Bangkok. But,
Bang!
but honestly, when you start doing stuff to help other people, and you're like, oh, my ego's not really involved, and I'm getting past that. That's where you're really feeling good about. That was beautiful, and that's what we try to get you here. So anything else you guys have to add about just where you're coming from and what you're doing
I mean,
that we missed?
You know, if you want to know,
Preach.
I think the changes of that
Yes, we didn't get to that. Thank you, Kip, for
that's taking place
keeping
in
me on
San
stride.
Francisco. You know, a lot has changed. I think it's the most surprising things to me that I like to point out. And you know, my neighborhood, which is called Nopa, what she was just talking about, it was gentrified by, you know, white people, right? White people moved in. It used to
White
be all
people.
black, like 90% black.
Yeah, that's true. It was.
And these were very simple, you know, basic kind of white people, you know, and they complained a lot about us, you know. And,
Hold on. So they complained about the black people who remained.
who were they? Yeah, that's how they got rid of us, you know. And I mean, I stayed, but you know, I stayed all the way to today. And the most surprising thing to me is to see all the white people who gentrified us now complaining about all the better, smarter, nicer white people moving in. Like I never saw. Like they're complaining about them now. Like I just never thought I would see white people complaining about white people. Like, you know, it's like they're just complaining
Yeah,
all the time.
You know,
I
it's
mean,
tough. They're like
Those techies are just so heartless. You
they're
know?
just so heartless, they're gentrifying. So basically, I'm watching AC/DC fans, okay? The AC/DC fans who gentrified the Run DMC and NWA fans now being gentrified by Bruno Mars fans.
Yeah. I don't really like Taylor
Just
Swift,
can't
okay? I just really
fucking
can't get
stand
behind
it.
it. Actually,
Oh my God, we're being overrun. I was like, but they like Bruno Mars, man, and they fucking say what's up, yo to me. You know what I'm saying?
So it's like the new people. They're like, oh shit, big black dude walking down the street. This is cool as fuck.
Yeah.
And they're like, hold on a second.
Exactly.
You mean
You're
to
saying
tell me-
hi to him. You're supposed to.
You're saying hi to Darky McGrath over here?
Exactly.
That shit's funny. No, it was funny. It's like I've lived where
It's crazy.
I've lived where I've lived for a long time. And when I moved in, I was the only black person in an apartment complex and it was full of white people. And you know, I was the only black guy there, and I got along with everybody. I didn't care. And now I'm the only black person in an apartment complex, and it's full of Latinos. And,
Oh wow.
and so I
So that means you got about 48 kids
well, running around the apartment.
in 1 month. You know they had kids like.
Jesus.
They be having kids popping out of everywhere, man.
It's only funny because it's true. Okay.
I think that's another way. Never mind.
No, please.
Stupid.
All right, so I am going to go to updates.
Oh yeah.
We do a segment called updates, and we do a segment called current events, and then I lead us in my updates with just my thoughts, and my thought is fake ass entrepreneurs. Wantrepreneurs, yeah. So see, every now and again, Scott just throwing some shit like a wantrepreneur. Like he don't say nothing, then he say wantrepreneur, and he makes it just great. Great. He's like, I fool went down there. Wantrepreneurs, take that.
I think. Are we starting to it? No.
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
Oh, okay.
We don't stop.
I was going to say.
We don't stop. I thought I told you that.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of that, well, two things. One, Scientology.
Hold on.
That's just a fake religion. So.
All right, listen. We're not making fun of Scientology. They will show up at our house with Tom Cruise
But
If I want to be in a movie one day, it's over.
that's a fake religion. That's a kind of a different, like it's
But
related.
some people
but
believe in it,
related.
so we cannot. If someone believes something, we
someone believes
can't
it.
question it.
So,
okay?
so
But I
Like
think
if I believe I'm an ox
Okay.
or a rabbit,
No, but
then that's
listen.
what I am. This is the Bay Area.
what the fuck has happened to our podcast? So,
okay, no. But what I do think of is people who have accomplished nothing in their life but work as like life coaches or whatever.
yeah, that shit's
I
amazing.
can do better than
Right?
that. How about people who make apps?
Yeah, dude.
So what do you do, man?
So,
What
so
do you do? What
hold
do you
on.
do?
So,
What do
so
you do?
I swear.
Oh yeah, man. You know what I do? I'm working on this thing, man. I'm working on this really cool thing, man. What do you do? Well, so what is it, man? Well, you know, I only work on part of it. I signed a non-disclosure agreement. I don't know what it does, but I know it's. I'm working with some great people, man. What do you do? I know what they want to know when they ask me that.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
want to hear me say I sell cocaine, so they can stay up all night and work on the shit they don't know nothing about. I know that. I know this.
Oh shit! This
I
is
know
beautiful. This is beautiful.
I know
So,
this, man.
so
So are you saying
So
drug
this is
dealers
funny 'cause
are
you said-
entrepreneurs or are they entrepreneurs?
no, drug dealers are entrepreneurs.
They're
Right?
real entrepreneurs. People
Yeah.
who sell drugs are real entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So that's the standard?
So you
Yeah.
motherfuckers are out there thanking Jesus for your Thanksgiving turkey and not thanking Jose for your cocaine. You're missing out, okay? I don't do drugs, but you do. So you should do something. You should thank the right people, okay? You don't want Donald Trump to build that wall. Yeah, I know you don't want him to build it.
So who's, wait, so
Hold on, hold on.
who's
So,
an entrepreneur?
All Donald Trump has to do is
Okay.
say, hey, you know what? I'm giving you like 30
I do
days.
think
I'm
Don-
giving you 30 days to stop. We see your trucks. We got satellites. We know where you are. 30 days, and we're going to blow up your cocaine fields. Do it, Donald Trump. No way. Because you know what? Then your hairstyles won't have enough energy to make your fucking hair yellow, okay? That's right.
I do think that Donald Trump is like a fake president.
Fuck this segment.
Fake president, right?
Fuck this segment.
He wants to be a president,
This segment is
but he's Kofi. What?
so.
Fefe.
Kofefe?
Google it. Donald Trump
Donald
said
Trump,
that
he's
shit
stuck
about
in Kofefe. He's not a real
Kofefe.
president. He's a wanted president. A wanted president.
Entrepreneur is a fake president. Donald Trump's a fake president. He's a wantrepreneur. Right?
Yeah, he is. He's a
He
wanted,
doesn't
like
need to sell anything. He
Scientology.
gets loans, he goes bankrupt, and he reinvents himself and borrows money all over again and just burns money.
Yeah, that's
Donald
true.
Trump
Donald
is a
Trump-
perfect example. He's not even a real president, okay?
He's like a
That's who
guru.
we're
He's a
talking
guru.
about.
He's someone with really
Like
bad
these
track
people out
record.
here
He's
saying
a
they're doing
bad
the
track
same thing.
record.
Everyone is making it. That's what they're doing, guys.
Well, this is beautiful.
That's right.
That's true. He's just like those gurus.
Let's talk about game. That's the king of game right there. Your
Now
president.
I'm gonna tell you something. I told you this before. I told you this before. Donald Trump. You can say what you want to say about that motherfucker, but nowhere in the
He
world.
is a motherfucker. He's fucked plenty of
Plenty of moms.
Plenty
Shit.
of
He gonna fuck your mama too. Watch out. But
Technically, he's fucked all of the moms. Last time I checked.
He's a mother raper too. One of his baby's mama said he's a rapist.
so
Doesn't he want to get rid of Roe vs. Wade? Like that's a motherfucker.
so here's the deal. Say what you want to say about Donald Trump, right? That motherfucker trolled his way to a presidency. He said, I'm gonna wake up in the morning and say the most fantastically ignorant shit, and motherfuckers are gonna like it because the country's so upset right now, and people are so uncontent that the only thing I tell them is I'm gonna make it get better, and I can tell these motherfuckers the sky is yellow, and the water is green, that they drink, and it's okay.
The Russians trolled him into the White House, okay?
But let me tell you something. The shit that he would talk, he'd come out, Cousin Hillary, lock her up, lock her up.
Don't you think? Well, okay, never mind.
No, but I'm not saying, I'm not justifying his presidency. There are plenty of things that I see him doing that I can say, as an honest to goodness conservative person, I could say this is total and complete bullshit. As a classic liberal, I see the stuff that he's saying, and I think to myself, this is ridiculous. No way does he represent anything, and the mystique of the presidency is degraded. It's just degraded. Let's just say that. But I will tell you this: you gotta give. I can't knock his fucking hustle. I can't knock his hustle because no place in the world Can a
So you think he's got game?
You got to give it up.
Game.
Man got roasted, and he's now president.
You got to give it up. You got to give it up, dude. Barack Obama. Hold on. But at the correspondence ball, Barack Obama might as well have teabagged him in public. And that motherfucker, because Barack Obama said, "Oh, by the way, we got Bin Laden, bitch." And while you're sitting there deciding whether to fire Little John, I'm really taking care of the country. And Donald Trump sat there like a puffy, upset man, and he won the next presidency.
So I think that the media had a heavy hand in his winning, and they had to keep Bernie Sanders from winning. And when I say they, I mean the corporations.
Yeah.
Had to keep Bernie Sanders out of the limelight. So the media focused on Donald and they focused on Hillary.
Right.
And they undermined everybody else. The media did that.
Well, a lot of times people mistake themselves by thinking that the DNC has to actually elect to presidency and run the person that you told them to run by voting. That's not the law. The DNC is an entity. They put who they want as president.
The DNC has some control.
Right.
They have some control, but the media can beat the DNC too.
Yeah.
Explain who the DNC is.
So the Democratic National Convention or Democratic National Party, right? And so, and like a lot of people think, well, the votes count, but the super delegates count. And the super delegates, they could vote for Bernie or they could have voted for Hillary. And the DNC said, you fuckers are going to go for Hillary because this is who we have next. And so the reason why Donald Trump is president is because people didn't have the foresight to say that, Bernie could beat him.
Well, people didn't have the foresight because the media didn't provide them with the information.
But my point in life has always been,
Louisiana had already voted.
Hold
by
on,
the
we just
time
established.
they gave
If you wait for the media to catch up,
You're a 1%er.
if
You're smart.
if you wait for the media to catch up,
That's what most people
But the media
do.
is supposed to be ahead of
America
everybody.
waits for the media to catch up.
but why are you guys doing the cryptocurrency? You guys are doing the cryptocurrency so you can learn because Stanford is already trying to
We
learn.
don't
and you already
represent
know.
America.
Exactly. And
We
so,
don't. America
so-
waits for the media.
so-
That's how he got.
Yeah, so
elected.
what I'm saying is that if we actually had critical thinking and if we actually understood what was going on, that wouldn't have never happened
But
because
we don't,
because
which is why the media should have been doing their job.
Well,
No,
but it's not-
they did do their job.
But it's not up to media.
corporation.
It's not up to
Yeah.
media to help me think critically. It's up to
It
me.
is. No, it
It's
is.
up
I
to-
disagree
He's right.
with you.
No, he's right.
Absolutely
He's right.
correct.
No, he's
it's up to
right.
me to help me think
Well, that's my
critically.
opinion.
I have to say,
Nah.
You're both right.
but I'm gonna tell you this. though. Why do you feel that way?
I'm just, okay, there's a reality. I
Okay.
agree it works the way you're talking, but I'm
Right.
saying ideally, the free, quote unquote, the idea of a free press
Right.
that this country was supposedly
First
based
Amendment,
on, I think those would be academically, we did used to have, I think, a better press where people would do
100%.
like
Journalism was real.
long form
What-
journalism. So that they could be ahead of events more easily. It's a very, very tough job now. But I do think what's crazy about Donald Trump is he's able to spin this story about fake news because there's truth to that story. There was fake news. They weren't reporting, like Louisiana had already voted, like so many states had already voted in the primary before there was like almost anything known about Bernie. And there was a lot of people later were like, oh, if I had known more.
Not anything known about any before the media said anything.
Before the media actually-
before it was, I mean,
before the media said
before the media, it was like,
When?
oh,
He marched with black people.
with Martin Luther King.
Right.
They
specifically.
waited till he got to California to say that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So
They waited till
they
he got. They
deliberately
waited
left
until he got
out
where there was
his
no
civil
black
rights.
people.
Yeah.
They deliberately left out his
So
civil rights.
I will say this.
record.
I will say this. I think that the biggest problem, and I try not to talk about politics a lot, but I'm passionate about it.
You could argue that the media are entrepreneurs.
But I think
They're fake. It's fake news. I have to agree
I
with
think that
them.
the biggest problem in our country is that we had two choices. Why couldn't instead of being Hillary and a Democrat versus Donald Trump as a Republican, it should have been Bernie or socialist, right up there getting the same equal treatment, and it should have been Johnson for libertarian.
That's all because the press is not free. Like
Well,
you just
no,
said.
that's because we as people allow that to happen. Because we want to vote for the lesser of two evils. And so
We don't have control though. The corporations have control. You can't blame the people.
Well, who did you vote for? You voted for one of the major parties, or did you vote for Bernie?
I started with Bernie.
But at the presidential.
Well, of course. I mean, he was already out.
So the presidential election, I voted libertarian. I voted what I felt was the right thing to vote.
Sure.
And if more people did that, it would force them.
Hey, Grover, how come you didn't write yourself in?
Because
No.
if I ran for president, they'd find out all the cocaine and hookers that I did.
You could have just wrote yourself
And
in.
then I would have been in trouble.
But Donald
I vote
Trump,
for
they found that out about Donald Trump, and it didn't stop him.
Well, I don't think Donald Trump did cocaine. But I was no. But what I'm saying is that I voted for whoever I felt, and I think that if we had a system where, like a parliamentary system, where whoever the top vote getter was out of the four would have to form a coalition with other people to get 50%, then you wouldn't have this bullshit. Because a guy like Donald Trump, what would have happened was that Hillary would have had to form a coalition with Bernie, and they would have won, and we would have been better
I'm
off.
trying
I mean,
to tell
it also
all,
goes way back,
all
though.
you people out there, if you ever feel like Grover, you know, well, when it's time to vote, I want you to remember, write in my name, write Kip Fuller. Okay,
Okay, this is
K-I-P-F-U-L-L-E-R.
entrepreneur right
Write
there.
my name in. I'm gonna be your next president. I'm gonna be your next
Okay.
fucking president. Okay, I'm gonna be better than Donald Trump. I'm gonna be better than Barack Obama. All right. You know what? I'm gonna be meaner than Hillary Clinton. When I say mean, I mean I make a mean fucking apple pie. Okay. Okay. And you know what? If my wife cheats on me, I'm gonna kick her ass.
You're gonna announce your presidential run.
Because you wanted Hillary to kick Bill Clinton's ass. I know that.
True.
I'm gonna do the same thing. Watch me. I got a really big face. Trust me. Kip Fuller. Write it down.
Yeah.
All right, get that out of there.
Okay, I want to talk about this. Brings me, you know, I want to talk about how disturbed and disappointed I am by middle-aged white women.
Oh my God.
Okay, what?
No, this has to do with entrepreneurship, okay?
Okay, please.
Because it also is partly in the eye of the beholder, right? Like some people will see someone trying to do something that's maybe illegal and be like, go do it anyways, like you're not harming anybody. And other people will be like, well, that's illegal. Like, as we've seen these middle-aged white women like shutting down. You're selling water on the street, like forget you. When like Uber, like I was saying earlier, is still illegal. So they allow the white men to do
Right.
hella illegal shit. But if a person of color want to sell water on the street, like, well, you don't have a permit.
Or a barbecue.
Yeah, you know, and when I said about this, I said, you know what the fuck you want them to do? You want the police to come and shoot the person or arrest them? Why don't you go either work it out with them or just fucking do it? Because if you spend any time in the Bay Area, you know this motherfucker's not from the Bay Area, you would know that Lake Merritt, Negroes are barbecuing their asses off anywhere they want to, and guess what? They're having a good time with their family. It's the last time, it's the weekend, they can bust their ass all week and just leave them alone. You should go up and ask them for a chicken recipe because you know your chicken ain't got no flavor.
Yeah.
But I actually have to say I think that's just people being so miserable that when they see somebody having a good time, they don't know how to have a good time, so they want to throw some misery on it.
Yeah, you know what it is they just. I think white women need to get back to their roots, to their greatness.
No, but they already
Stop
did.
it. Hold
They
on, you
voted for
had your
Trump.
mic. It's my turn to talk. Okay. They need to get back to their illustrious greatness, to the great white women that they used to be back in the days where they produced great black civil rights leaders like Barack Obama and Colin Kaepernick. White women gave birth to those motherfuckers, okay? We need white ladies like that again and get rid of these crazy bitches that's out here harassing black people, okay? We need some white women to give birth. Go, let's find some white ladies and make some civil rights leaders happen out here, man.
I am 100% against having children. I would donate my sperm to white women to make civil rights.
So we're going to start a sperm donorship program to make some black civil rights leaders. We need some strong white ladies to show up for this.
So the update segment is totally off the fucking rails right now.
The reason I brought this up, because you thought it was a non sequitur, but I have to, because he was talking about Trump, and it was middle-aged white women are the ones that voted Trump.
Yes.
Middle-aged white women are too old to
They
contribute
didn't
to
vote
this
for
program.
Hillary. That was her big, like
You can't have
brain
babies
explosion,
for us.
right?
Wait, where is this information coming from?
Oh no, it's just voting data.
It's voting data.
voting data, really?
Yeah,
Really?
Yes.
people actually thought that they were gonna. People actually thought that Trump was the female vote all together, but middle-aged white women really vote for Trump.
Yeah.
By like a wide margin.
Enough that you. I mean, that was really the deciding.
Well, he only won by
it was the
700,000
deciding
votes. So
factor.
That's close to.
okay.
It was one of the big
I
deciding.
don't blame middle-aged white women.
They're
don't blame.
they're
We
obviously.
have to do
They're
updates.
obviously.
They done took
They're
away all the
obviously
Marlboro
racist.
commercials. They took all the Clint Eastwood movies off. They just miss real white men. These guys are too soft out here.
They want
That's
like
the
some
problem.
narcissistic crazy guy.
They want
That's a
some
real
strong
white man.
men.
What do you?
Donald
Okay.
Trump was the first person they heard talk like a real man on TV.
No,
Like,
I think Hillary was more of a man than Donald.
We're attacking them. I don't know.
Wait, don't you think Hillary Clinton is more of a real man than Donald Trump? Donald just.
No, I do
that's
not
so
think-
wrong
hold
of
on.
you to say that.
I do
Oh
not
my
think Hillary Clinton
God.
has a penis.
Oh my God. Did you say that about Hillary Clinton? That's so
But if she did,
sexist.
No,
but if she
she's
did have a
strong
penis, it's
woman.
okay.
She's a strong woman is more
I'm all
of a
for
man
women
than a
with penis
crazy.
somehow. I don't. What the hell?
Crazy.
Right now, I'm sure the viewers are so confused. What
Yeah.
side is everyone on?
Guys, hold on a second. Hold on.
We have to.
So first of all,
We are
can't-
not real
first of all-
commentators.
hold on a second.
We're
First of
just
all-
being.
First of all, we can't
Wantrepreneurs.
talk over each other because it sounds crazy when we do. Second of all, we got. I got some current events that I really like you guys to weigh in on if you're up to it.
Weigh in on? I weigh over 300 pounds, brother.
Shit, I've weighed over 300 pounds for years. So first thing is that we've been looking at Tesla doing incredible things. Tesla has made a $1,500 surfboard that just sold out in 1 hour. A spaceship, and a fucking flamethrower. So my only question to the great company is, when are you going to make lightsabers and flying cars so I can get my childhood popping again?
I mean, they need to make something, man. I thought you was going to add burritos in it because they need to manufacture something that they can actually push to the market. Teslas take too long to make. They take too long to make. They cannot meet the supply and demand. They cannot meet demand, so their stock is plummeting. Well, it's not plummeting, but their stock is very questionable now.
The new title of this podcast is "The Bird Flies Backwards at Midnight."
I'm telling you the truth, man. It's true. Tesla has a real problem because they cannot manufacture enough cars, and it's affecting their stock valuation.
I
So
think-
they have to make skateboards.
But Elon Musk isn't worried about the money. Elon
I-
Musk is worried about creating something great, and that's why he's doing so kooky off the wall shit. Okay.
I think that Tesla should partner with Martha Stewart because, where the white woman goes, that's where the money is.
So they
That's
need
where
to
the
start
winners are,
making dildos.
obviously.
Tesla dildos. There you go. Bam!
Tesla.
Little mashup right
Solar powered dildos. Okay.
Well, Tesla. Tesla has
That's a really good
This
idea.
podcast is crazy.
Tesla
No, but
could actually power a
solar-powered
dildo from remote. It can transmit the electricity from remotely. Like the dildo could be powered by a remote source,
Bluetooth.
like a Bluetooth
dildo.
powered dildo.
I actually think that would, because couples have to spend
can't hold it together no more.
couples have to spend more and more time apart these days because people have to have double income.
Oh my God, this is like
And
sexy.
in San Francisco,
So they should have a way to have sex
some
together
guys
when they're
be
not in
using
the
their
same
woman's
bed.
dildo and they don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so a woman, she know when her batteries is low, and then she come home and find them high. First thing she gonna do is look at her husband like, wow, why do my dildo have fresh
That's true, but if it
batteries
just
in it?
charges automatically, then it's equal.
What's going
guys.
on here?
All right.
It'll save marriages. It'll save marriages.
So we have the venue for about 15 more minutes before we have to leave. So I want to get through these. We are now on current events. The first thing was about Tesla. The second thing was about Sacha Baron Cohen's new comedy show on Showtime, where he is apparently becoming a super spy because he's dressed up and fooled Sarah Palin, Judge Rob Moore, and I don't care if they like this or not, the alleged pedophile from Alabama. The Jason Spencer, who's a Georgia politician. And so, like, Sacha Baron Cohen has discovered Punk'd for rednecks, where he's making these people do and say incredibly stupid things, and they're actually falling for it on camera.
But he's dressed up as these other people.
So he's dressed up as like an Israeli military specialist, and they're just opening up and like, you know, like one guy was like saying the N-word openly, saying, "You have to shock people, say something shocking." And he's like, "Never!" And I was like, well, that's pretty shocking. And of course, it's actually ruined careers. The only thing I'm gonna say is, how stupid do you have to be to fall for that shit?
He does a lot of social commentary. I mean,
It's called My America or Finding America or something. But he's doing social commentaries on shows.
Sounds like he's in the right part of the country. Yeah. Sounds like he's doing the right things. You know, the show's gonna be fine.
And so the final thing of updates, and I just thought that was hilarious, but the final thing of updates is that I gotta salute LeBron James for opening up a high school in his native Akron, Ohio, called the I Promise School. I don't know if anybody's heard about this, but he's giving out to the people who qualify or who get into a school, because of course everybody can't go. So I don't know if it's going to be a lottery or some way, but if you get in, there's free tuition, free uniforms, a free bicycle and a helmet to get back and forth to school. But in Ohio, you cannot do that shit anywhere. Free meals while at school, a GED job placement for parents, and tuition guaranteed to the University of Akron for all who qualify once they graduate. And so I got to salute LeBron James, King James, for doing that. That's excellent. And I have to say,
Wakanda forever, brother.
Wakanda.
Wakanda forever.
But I got to say this right now.
Build schools in your neighborhood.
And I want everyone to listen to me. For LeBron James, I salute you. I'm booing your ass. I'll treat you like dog shit when you play the Warriors. But I don't give a fuck.
I'm just a two. I lived in both cities, so I guess I get.
You looked at LA and you looked at
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him kudos,
LA,
man.
so
I'm gonna give him kudos. He's just as nice as this place we in, man. This is a really nice.
No, I think it's a thing. I've always defended LeBron James as far as his personal choices. When he went to Miami, and people were like, "How dare you go to Miami?" When it's like, no, he's not a fucking slave. He doesn't have to stay here. He can go and play wherever he wants. That's what free agency is about. When he went back to Cleveland, everybody's like, "Oh, now he's going back to Cleveland." And people in Miami were upset. And I'm like, once again, he can do what he wants to do. If he wants to go and win some championships, he wants some championships. When he goes to LA, whatever his motivation for that is, he can go there. I just salute the man 100%. I salute the man for.
I mean, half my Facebook fans are really friends are really happy because they live in LA and they're Lakers fans, and then half my Facebook friends are like mad. So I just kind of see both sides.
Yeah. So we're having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
What's going on?
This is what happens when we first start off a podcast. We actually ran out of memory on the sound.
Oh.
That's why we have redundant audio.
So we can still keep rolling.
Yeah, keep rolling.
Excellent. So I really want to thank my good friend Kip Fuller for doing this for me.
Thanks for having me, man.
I'm gonna tell you that I popped in on Kip, and you know the way I keep
Oh my
friendship.
God, you did?
Yeah.
Caught Kip?
I popped in on Kip, and he was giving himself a stranger. No. But the way my friendship always is that if I'm 100% friends with somebody, it is what it is, and I don't have to see you or talk to you every day to be your friend, because people's lives are busy, and I want to respect the fact that their lives are busy.
I know I would get a call from Kip with an update from difficult times, and I hope he feels like I was always there to listen to him. I had just the most shittiest dog shit advice, because I can't give advice because I've never been in that situation, but I was there to listen. But the thing is, nobody needs to come sit in a restaurant that's closed in the middle of the night after everyone leave and talk to you for hours and make it fun and entertaining and make it easy. And Kip 100% did it. So thank you very much.
Hey,
Thank
right
you,
on, man. Right
thank
on.
you, Miss Rosie, for coming. And,
Yep, thanks for having us.
And just adding your touch to it, as you always do. I think that you guys are incredibly fucking funny.
Right on, man.
And Kip's always been funny. Kip used to do skits when he was cutting my hair. He used to he used to cut my hair in a British accent, and then in the middle of the British accent, he would start coming on to me while he was cutting my hair and say, "Wouldn't it just be different if I was attracted to you while I was cutting your hair?" And I was like, Jesus. And it would just be hilarious, because Kip is so good at impressions and so good at getting out of his head and channeling someone else or bringing whatever it is inside of him out. And no matter how uncomfortable it is to you, you just got to recognize the talent. You're a talented person.
All right on, man. I appreciate that.
And I just look forward to seeing your star explode. And I look forward to seeing Rosie keep you
She's probably gonna blow.
halfway stable.
She might blow up before I do.
She's probably gonna blow up bigger than you, because
She's getting booked, man. I'm not getting nobody. Can somebody book me, please, on the show?
yes.
That's not true.
She's getting all
You
the
had
bookings.
2 bookings
Grover,
last week.
if you're free tomorrow, we'd love to have you on our show too. I don't know if you're free, but we can talk about it later.
Let's talk about it later. If
Yeah.
it's a late night like this, I can definitely be there.
Okay,
Or
let's
if not,
talk
I
about
can
it.
make arrangements.
Yeah.
I 100% just thank you folks for coming here to the Happiness.
Thank you very much.
podcast.
Appreciate it, man.
It's been
Thanks for
great,
having
great
us.
content.
Right on,
everything.
man.
It's just
Thank
fucking
you.
amazing. So this is our signing out. Fake Entrepreneurs,
Wantrepreneurs.
or as I called it in the middle of it, a bird flies backwards at midnight
Midnight.
because the shit went crazy.
I'm a happiness-preneur.
The Happiness-preneur.
We got to talk about Negropreneurs on.
Oh, my God.
Negropreneurs.
Negropreneurs wake up after 12 o'clock all the time.
It's time to make niggas. But this is.
Let's go. Let's
So
go make
I
that money.
am Grover Reese of Guerrilla Combatives Martial Arts Systems.
And I'm Scotty of Orc Unity.
This is the Happiness Podcast Project signing out. Next time, we will be coming live from Spartacore, where we will interview Aaron Malinsky, powerlifter and thirst trap.
And I think Kip Fuller wants to say one last
Go
thing.
on, Kip, get it in, baby.
Hey, you know what? You guys need to tune in for that because it's gonna be amazing.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you, Kip. Thank you, Rosie.
And boom, we're done.
All right.
Good job, guys.
All right.
Scott's gonna have hell.